integrated math. The good news is the strong math teachers very much support it. It is a math sequence that is used in many European countries because it integrates math in a way that they use in engineering courses and it really builds on those real life experiences. So in math, those middle years will have the big change, and then when they get to the high school, they kind of go back to that same course of study and can go all the way up to calculus, trig in some cases, algebra 2 and algebra. So the mid-years will see a big shift in the Common Core.
So Dr. Meyer, when I, in ancient history, when I went to school, we had what was called...
Abacuses?
You start choosing papers. No, we had what's called regents, okay, and,
yes.
you know, and in order to get to graduate, you had to pass a statewide mandated test. You know, you didn't have to get an 80 or a 90 or an 8, but you had to get a 65 or 66 or 70, but that was a criteria to move a child forward. And if the child didn't, then the child was left back. So my question, you know, on that would be, you know, what are we doing to prepare for the change to the core testing? If children fail the core testing, are they held back? If they fail in more than one subject, you know, are they really held back? Or, you know, is there some kind of scale on what we're going to do? We have parents and we have advocates for core come to us and speak. Some are against it, some are for it. You know, so this was a great way for us to find out what is the board and the whole Mount Diablo School District going to do with core testing and graduating kids, or preparing them for, you know, prep classes to get ready for taking the test, or are they going to, you know, go to summer school, you know, before to catch up if they're behind? You know, what's our plans to keep, not to have them fail, but to win on this?
To win on this. Well, to go back to the regents, and you would get a distinguished diploma if you passed the regents, which is
an academic diploma.
An academic diploma, a very difficult test.
Right.
California has a California high school exit exam and is not nearly as challenging as the regents, and it will stay in place for the time being. So there will be a bar, although certainly not as high, to ensure all students meet that basic level. But these tests will be different, and whether they count in the student scores or not is still something that they're discussing. The former tests that had a great impact on the teachers, the principal, the school, the community did not count on the student scores. And so as students got older, you're probably aware, there's less incentive to worry about this test. They have other tests that count, that they care about. So that is not aligned as it should be. The positive side about these tests is that there's discussion about making it relevant for students and counting it. So whether that will play out, they're still looking at, and it really needs to. And the tests are designed so they're individualized. So you take it, and if you pass the certain portion, they'll ask you another question on the same subject to make sure you understand it before you go on to the next level. And I don't mean to trivialize it, but it's been described as something like the video games where students are playing, and then once they've mastered that area, they then go to the next level, and to the next level, and to the next level. So there's a desire for there to be an intrinsic motivator as well.
I think if we use that philosophy to the kids,
it might work.
It
doesn't work as well with adults.
As long as there's purple angry birds.
Yeah, something. Thank you.
Are there any questions on the?
Well, and you had mentioned that part of the assessment now will be moving into kids using technology for that assessment. So just maybe to update Clayton in terms of Diablo View Middle and Mount Diablo Elementary, and how our technology, and I didn't bring this up ahead of time, but what we approved as a board and how we're looking at that support for our schools.
Okay, definitely. As part of the Common Core, Mount Diablo was awarded approximately $6 million. And so part of that funding is going to go to professional development, part of it to materials, but $2 million of that will go to the technology needed to support this and to support the instruction of Common Core, not just the test. Also through our Measure C, and we have Director Tim Cody here, We have put in computer labs into the schools that will help support the students as they're taking the assessments. So those two steps by the board, last Wednesday, the vote on the technology support, and then Measure C, the bond, both will be used to support our district. And in speaking to other districts around the county, many are struggling with how they're going to bring that technology in. And we still are going to be assessing it as we go, because it's really, we're doing our best guess this year. But we're really in much better shape due to those two actions.
Barbara, do we have a time limit? Are we ending at 8 on the dot?
What we said until 8, but.
I mean, we can go longer. We just have a few things that,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that that we knew what to expect.
If people have to leave, I don't know.
Were you okay if we go longer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions on the Common Core? We're okay. One of the next issue we have on here is school traffic safety, and we know that that's come up in several arenas, and so maybe since your chief of police is here, he needs to know about school traffic safety in the city of Clayton to inform our staff. And
Some of us see it daily. Some of us see it 6 times a day right in front of us. And the 4 houses from my elementary, so I get a firsthand view.
Thank you. This thorny issue. I think, as a matter of backdrop, I've been the police chief here in the city of Clayton for about 15 months. I think I was here as the police chief for about 15 minutes before my phone rang and was asked, what are you going to do about traffic safety? What are you going to do about traffic circulation? Specifically as it relates to the elementary school. And I think it's best if I provide at least what we're doing, and then we can discuss solutions. Currently, the Clayton Police Department, as time allows, and fortunately for us, that's almost every morning, we dedicate a police officer to facilitate traffic movement around the school. That's a fancy way of saying that there's a cop standing out there directing traffic. That works well. And my understanding of the history of that was it started with parent volunteers. They got tired of being yelled at by the motoring public, so it moved to teachers. They got tired of being yelled at by the motoring public, so then it moved to the administrative staff of the school, and they got tired of being yelled at by the motoring public, so ultimately wound up with police officers being yelled at.
Somebody yells at you, do that.
They do. And to be fair, I have personally witnessed what some people describe as the chaos of the morning and afternoon pickups. We've looked at it from an engineering standpoint. We've looked at it from an enforcement standpoint. We've looked at it from an educational